Welcome to Sikbaggers YouTube channel. I'm Steve. Today we're going to be doing something actually a little bit different than we've been doing in the last 2 months, and that's an actual bagger video. Now, I shot this video about 7 months ago, and as you've seen in the thumbnail, this is the Maverik version 3 2-in-1 exhaust. It's going to be the side dump exhaust that's 2-in-1. It dumps out in front of your saddlebag. We were super excited to get this about 7 months ago. We shot the video install from A to B, taking your old stuff off, putting your new stuff on, have it on the bike, did a review on it, did some sound clips and stuff. Absolutely love it. The only issue is that I pretty much got the last one at the time. So with all the stuff that's been going on in the world and parts getting hard to get and stuff like that, the stuff was back ordered for a long time. I actually called there this morning, got some exciting news. The exhaust is back in stock. If you want to get your hands on this exhaust, you'll be able to do it now. And they do offer this in several different flavors, not just the one that we put on the Street Glide. We got the chrome one with the extended Kory Souza tip that's on the end of it, and we absolutely love it. But they do have a selection of different tips that you can get for it, and you can also get it in black. You can get it for the M8 as well. We did this on a 103, it's a 2014 Street Glide. But I actually wanted to make this little beginning part here before we actually drop the video, because if you follow our channel, you're going to open up this video and be like, man, that's old, because it's before we did all of this updating in the garage and stuff, and you can completely tell it's not the same place. So it's about 6 or 7 months old, but that's great too, because we actually got a full riding season in on the pipe. Absolutely love it, no issues whatsoever. Another thing to keep in mind, you can watch this as a 2-in-1 install video. Most of these exhausts all install the exact same way. The bottom hanger down there may be a little bit different on your model, but I promise you, if you get 2-in-1 exhaust, you're gonna get some sort of instructions with it. If you get to that part where you get to the bottom hanging brightness a little bit different than this one, no big deal. Just follow your instructions and you'll be good as gold. At the end of the day, you'll have new exhaust. This is another one of those things that you do not need to take to a shop or to Harley Davidson to have them install this. You can do this at home with just a little bit of knowledge and a few wrenches. You can get this done. I'll put the link down in the description to this pipe, but you can search around the website. They have a ton of other stuff too besides exhaust. So make sure that you pop over and check out the website. If you have any questions on anything, just give them a call. Now I'm going to get out of here and let you watch this install video. I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, as always, be safe. Keep your knees in the breeze. Welcome to Sikbaggers YouTube channel. I'm Steve. We got a rainy day here, so I thought it'd be a really good time to give our old charcoal pearl Street Glide back here a little bit of love. We started building this bike about 4 years ago. It took probably about a year to do all the pieces that we did on it. Then we did the Road Glide build, which we knocked out in about 2 or 3 months. But ever since we got the Road Glide, we haven't showed the old Street Glide much love. And today, we're going to be installing a Bagger Brothers 2-in-1 Maverick pipe. Now, when we did a stage 1 on this bike, we did Cobra PowerPort headers in the front, and we did Rush Racing 4-inch Big Louis in the back. And as much as I love the sound of that exhaust, I wanted to run a Advan Black no cutout rear end on the bike. So we started shopping around for some turn down exhaust that would allow me to keep the dual exhaust, the headers that I have on here, and run exhaust out the back and then turn down before the end of the bag. We could run a no cutout rear end and have dual exhaust. When we were taking the measurements for everything, we couldn't find any that would fit behind the Advan Black bags and dump down. So we basically just started with a set of slip-ons, and we started cutting and measuring and welding, and when we got done, we ended up with a 4-inch turn down exhaust. We had little slip-in style baffles that went up on the header side in between the header and the slip-on. Now that setup sounds amazing, and it let me do the no cutout bags, but it was a ton of work. Now since then, I've decided to go ahead and do a side pipe. That's a 2-in-1 that dumps out right in front of the saddlebags, and that's what we're going to be installing today. I started shopping around for one. A buddy of mine on Facebook actually had this exhaust on his bike. I asked him where he got it, and he said he purchased it from Bagger Brothers. Now the ones we got in the box back here are the chrome Maverik Souza. They've done some upgrading since their old version, but you can go over to the website and check them out. I'll put a link down in the description. As always, it'll take you straight over there to the exhaust. So we're just going to pop in here and see what we got in the box. Very cool kind of retro box. But kind of feel like I'm opening up an old video game. You got some instructions on the inside. So you got a bag of hardware in here. Of course, you got your clamps for your heat shields. You got some spacers, it looks like, some bolts, and of course a new hanging bracket. Not anything really out of the ordinary from basic kind of like a header install. You got some heat shields. Very cool back heat shield here with the Bagger Brothers logo that's actually riveted on, so that's pretty cool. Of course, we got the pipe itself, and then we're gonna have the exhaust tip that we picked. So just be aware when you go over to the website, there's all these different exhaust tips that you can get for this pipe. We got the extended version of the Souza Tip. Hopefully you can see that little logo right there. So this is the extended one that goes out past, because I didn't want any exhaust really getting on the side of my saddlebags. So that's pretty much it. Looks like a pretty straightforward install. So let's get the camera over to the other side of the bike and get all this old stuff off. As you can see, I have a lot of stuff to remove to even get to my headers. If you don't have lowers or a chin spoiler on here, all you really need to do is remove your front right floorboards. Just a couple of bolts down in the bottom. Remove the bracket and everything, not just the board from the bracket. Just get the bracket and everything out of the way. Another thing I'll end up doing is removing my side cover and my saddlebag just to get that stuff out of the way. I'll have to remove both so I can get my slip-ons and stuff off. So for right now, I'm just going to kick the camera off. I'm going to get my lower off, my chin spoiler off, and then we'll kick the camera back on. All right, we got our chin spoiler out of the way, we got our lower out of the way, and I went ahead and removed the floorboard. Like I said, it's just a couple of bolts. Just get down there and look. Mine on this bike took a 5/16 Allen to get those out. Now we're just going to remove all of the clamps to get these heat shields off and actually expose the hardware that holds the exhaust on. And we got the right side off. We're just gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, guys. The same process. I use a little bit of PB Blaster on there, and sometimes you gotta do a little banging with a hammer and a flathead screwdriver to get the old slip-ons off, but that's pretty normal. Especially if they've been on there for a while, they can be seized up, but the PB Blaster seems to work about the best for me out of all the stuff that we can use to get these pipes off. I just took a couple little bangs on the back and that broke loose. So we're just gonna do the same thing to the other side, and then we can come over here and take off the header. Okay, so from here on your headers, and it doesn't really matter the brand, you're always going to have 2 bolts up here, 2 bolts up there, generally some kind of center hanging bracket down here, so you're gonna have to get up in here and look to find the bolt that hangs that. And then if you have duals that goes under the bike, you're also going to have another hanging bracket off the back of your transmission back here. Now, if your pipes have been on the bike for a while, these down here that are under the bike that are exposed to the most weather, go ahead and hit those with a little PB Blaster or whatever you use. It's gonna save you a little bit of time later. These up here generally don't take anything. You can just sneak a socket in there and go ahead and get those out. Rear hangers off. So from here, before we start pulling anything and removing this, you want to make sure that you unplug your O2 sensors. You've got a gray and a black. Now you can mark this, your gray one's front, your black one's rear. But it's super easy to remember on these. Back is black. So pretty much we can all remember Back to Black, you know, old AC/DC song. So back is black. Go ahead and get those unplugged. If you got them zip tied off or anything, go ahead and get those, get the wires all the way out here. So make sure that you check for zip ties. I had one down in there kind of tucked in, hidden from me. But this is the front one, front jug. It's gonna be your gray one. Back jug right here, follow it down. This O2 sensor back, that's black. So we wanna fish those out, get those out of the way. So now we wanna take our 1/2 inch on an extension, get up here and get these 2 loose, and then the front 2 loose. Now the front middle one up in the front, you may have to get in there with a wrench. It's kind of hard to get to with any kind of socket, but just make sure you're good on there. Break it loose. Right now we're just gonna break these loose. You may not be able to see it real well, but from here, we got one on the inside closest to us. Go ahead and break that loose. And this side can be a little tricky, so if you go from the other side and you sneak a wrench in here, because you don't really have a lot of room between your frame and your header pipe, depending on which one you have. But you can get this broke loose with a wrench. Usually with these, once you get them broke loose, you can just reach in and take the nut off. We'll go ahead and take that one all the way off since we have the other three already busted loose. Now we can go ahead and go back and take the other ones out all the way. Let the exhaust flange go ahead and drop down. This one up in here, you may have to kind of fandangle it out. Go ahead and let that drop down. All we have to do is make sure that we're loose down here at the bottom, which we're not. Go ahead and get that bolt out. We took the nut off earlier, but now the bolt is out. So now we're actually free from the side, and we can pull that header right off just like that. So I went ahead and brought the header over to a table because we have to remove our O2 sensors. I went ahead and looked in the hardware bag, and there is not new retaining rings, so you'll have to use your old ones. We'll show you how to get those off. And there's not any gaskets, so you need to double check your gaskets in your bike, which I'll take the camera over there and show you how to do that here in a minute. Usually just pick those old ones out and put new ones in, but these do not come with the pipe, so you'll need to pick up a set of these for your bike. So the first thing we want to do is bust these O2 sensors loose. I'm going to hold the wire up, take the sensor out. So in order to get the flange off here, we have to take the retaining clip off. It's very easy. I mean, you can take a flathead screwdriver if you don't have a pair of these pliers, pull it up here and just kind of wring it off. But I pull them up, use these little cheapo pliers to spread them out, and that just pops it off just like that. Now that those are off, we can take these off. So it's important that you remember which way they go. That little retaining ring sets in that groove right there. The other side's flat. So this goes on, the retaining ring goes on, and it holds it in place. This pulls up on like that, goes onto your gasket, and sucks all this up against the jug. Now that we have all that stuff off, we can actually just get rid of these and get our new pipe up here and get our O2 sensors in. You're gonna put a little anti-seize around those threads. We ever have to take these back off, it won't be a real pain to get off. Gray goes to the front. This is the front. I'm going to take our rear, do the same thing. Now put the torque specs on all this stuff on the screen if you're interested in those. Now that we have those on, we put our flanges back on. Remember, retaining ring up. Goes like that. Now we're going to take our pliers. We're going to take our clips. We're going to put those back on. And as you can see, when this comes up, that sets right down in that ring. Now that we have those in, we're going to move over to the bike. We're going to change out our gasket. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the video. I just want to take a quick second to stop and tell you how much I appreciate the hell out of every single one of you. If you could just take 1 second to hit that like, hit that subscribe, tell your friends about us. That's what keeps us coming out here to the shop and creating the free content. It doesn't cost you guys a dime. All of our videos are absolutely free all of the time. We don't have any secret squirrel websites that you can go subscribe to and pay us money so you can watch certain videos, all that. Our videos are always free all the time. And in order for us to come out here and make more content, we really need your help when it comes to just a simple like and a subscribe, and also tell your friends about us. Jump on over to Facebook, check us out over there at sikbaggers, and on Instagram. Join up over on the Facebook group and become a part of an awesome community. We got a great group of people over there that really like helping each other. So make sure to check us out, Facebook and Instagram. But I just want to stop the video real quick to tell you guys, thank you. Now I'm gonna let you get back to the video. Now you can see our old gasket right here. Since we have new ones, we're gonna go ahead and replace these. I just use an old pick like this, little hooked pick or a flathead screwdriver to get in there and get under it and kind of poke it through and pull this out. And once you get a hold of it like that, you can pull it out, and you can see that that one's pretty well ruined now. Clean out the inside of this hole, make sure there's nothing in there. Work this in evenly and try to stay out of the camera so you can see what I'm doing, but do not push one side in and then try to push the other side in. It's got to go in pretty flat all the way around So just keep working it until you get it all the way pushed in, until it's flush with the edge. Just like that. Now all we want to do is do the same thing to the front. Now depending on whatever side mounting bracket that you have on your bike, because I don't know exactly what exhaust you're taking off your bike, but look right underneath the transmission. Right down here there's going to be 2 bolts. They're going to be 1/4 inch Allen. Go ahead and remove those and get the old hanging bracket off. Once you have that off, take your bolts that you just pulled out, go ahead, put a little blue Loctite on those, and this is going to mount just like this. Your new exhaust side bracket mount is now going to be back here where these 2 holes are. So we'll go ahead and get these in. So from here we can take our pipe that's completely built, take our O2 sensor wires over the top so they're not getting in the way. So we pick up the pipe, get the flange up in here, pull it around to the back. We get this pulled up to where it's supposed to go. Wiggle that up into place. One of our nuts and get it started here. We're not going to tighten this down right now. Just want to get these on so it holds it in place so we can work the front on. If you have 2 people, this would be a good time to use them. Just fighting this by yourselves, not super fun, but you can get it. Spin this flange around, get it on the nuts where it's supposed to go, and then pull that up. Kind of push and pull on the header a little bit to get your flange all the way on. And you see me using the Milwaukee ratchet a lot to take stuff off, but when I'm doing these, I like to do it by hand so you can feel what's going on. You know, of course the inside one over there, we have to do it by hand. We don't have much choice. So I'm just snugging these down a little bit. I'm not torquing them down right now. So I've got those just kind of snug down, but we can still move the pipe, as you can see. Now from here we're going to take the backing plate and the 2 1/2-inch bolts here. We're going to run the backing plate up on the backside, run the bolts through it, and secure the exhaust to the new mounting bracket. So this part can be a little tricky. You have to slide this in the hole. I can't really get the camera down there for you guys to do this, but the bolt goes in the backside. Once you get one of them started like that, you can take the other bolt, kind of go from the other side. You can usually line right up with that one. Now once I get this going here, I'll move the camera over here so you guys can see what I'm doing. There's really no way to get my hands in here, my head in here, and a camera, so just kind of bear with me. Okay, so there's a little bit better view. Bear with me, I got the camera off the tripod. But right in that square is where you have to slide that backing plate, and then your 2 nuts go in from here. Go across the top here. There's one nut, there's the other nut, and they have to go between the transmission and here. But you want to slide the backing plate in that hole. Slide it all the way through here, through here, through here, and into the backing plate. Same with both. Go ahead and leave those loose for now. Now from here, we want to make sure everything is in place before we start tightening everything down. Once we make sure the exhaust is where we want it, we'll go ahead and tighten those down. Make sure that you go back and forth on those until both of them are tight. Now from here, we can start the rear cylinder. Like I said, you want to go back and forth until you pull this down to where it needs to go. So give it a couple of turns, go to the front one, a couple of turns, The front one, like I said, you got to work one side down with a ratchet, other side down with a wrench. Now once we've done that, we want to reroute our O2 sensors. We know these are going to go down here, come up, back up through in between that new bracket that we just put on for the side. Pull these taut. They're going to come up here. We're going to zip tie them here. You're going to tuck them right back in here. Going to hook this up gray to gray, which is their front. Black to black, which is rear. Remember what I told you? Back to black. So you can retrace that one if you want. Make sure that you did it right, because if you didn't, you're going to take it all back off. This one goes to this pipe, which goes to the back. Gray comes down, goes to this pipe, which goes to the front. So gray to the front, back to black.
Cause I'm back in black.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not a singer, but that's how you remember that. Pretty easy. Back to black. Now from here, guys, I take a little bit of rubbing alcohol on a soft cloth before we put our heat shields on. Go ahead and get off any fingerprints. If you used painter's tape to keep from marring anything up, go ahead and get all that stuff wiped off the best you can. Rubbing alcohol works great to get the finger oils or any grease that you had on your hands from your dirty, nasty bike. Because once you fire this pipe up, if there's grease on that pipe, it will cook into the pipe and stain it. And yes, we are putting heat shields on here. From here, we're going to take our front heat shield. You can see there are 3 places for your clamps. So we're going to slide this one in this way. Try not to scratch the outside chrome. It's always important to orientate these clamps so you can get to the nut after you put it on. We're going to figure out the orientation on our clamps on this one. Now once you get your clamps on, maneuver everything to where these 2 pieces line up together. Go ahead and secure those down. And then we're going to take our last piece before we put our tip on. This is going to go right here and cover the end of that. We'll get those snug down and then we'll get our tip put on. Once you have that heat shield on, the last thing we need to do is put our tip on. As you can see on this pipe, it's drilled and threaded all the way around. So you can set this on here and literally put it any way that you want it. I think for now, we're just gonna go with something like that. After I set my bags and stuff, I may go ahead and turn that a different direction. But I think for now, that's gonna be the best direction for us. Now we get to put our floorboard back on. And because this pipe and this heat shield sticks out a little farther, we've got bolts and spacers that we have to put in here. But yours is probably going to look a little different. We're gonna put, because I have the Ciro floorboards on here, I'm gonna put a spacer in here. And I'll put this back up here. On the back side, you're going to have a shorter bolt, your spacer, and it's actually just going to bolt. I'll get that one started. Sorry if I'm getting in the way of the camera there. Just trying to hold all this up. Get this started. And get this one, get the rear snug down. Make sure the front snugged. That thing sounds amazing. It is loud. If you want loud, it's loud. One of the reasons why it seems it's a lot louder than the other exhaust, of course, is it's not all the way behind you, but it's right next to you now. So probably about the same tone just sitting there idling. We wanted a side pipe for a long time, but it took a long time for me to get one because I'd paid so much money for the Cobra PowerPort headers to begin with. I didn't want to just scrap those right off the bat, you know, after paying all that money, because with the side pipe like this, it's everything. It's the headers and straight into the exhaust. But now that it's said and done, I'm really glad that I did it. Not only does it look awesome, it sounds amazing as well. So just remember, you don't need to pay anybody to do this. This is something you can do at home. A couple of wrenches, instructional video like this, you'll have enough confidence to tackle this at home. Save some money, put that money back in your pocket, or spend it on more chrome or parts for your bike. Remember, if this video helped you, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, tell your buddies about us. It really, really helps our channel. I'm gonna get out of here and get back to work. I hope to see you in the next video, but until then, as always, be safe, keep your knees in the breeze. Thanks for checking out the YouTube video, guys. If you like what you see, make sure you hit the subscribe button over here. Over 100 bagger related videos on our YouTube channel, but to get you started, maybe you can check out this one or this one. Just one of them, not really gonna say anything else, just click the button, man. They'll just